Amsterdam, 1642. A golden age. The Dutch Republic is the richest nation in Europe, its cities bursting with trade, science, and art. And at the heart of this world stands one man, Rembrandt van Rijn. But this is not a story about glory. It's a story about betrayal, obsession, and a painting so controversial, it destroyed its creator. This is the untold truth behind The Night Watch, a masterpiece that wasn't supposed to exist and that nearly ended Rembrandt's life. In the 17th century, the Dutch middle class, merchants, guilds, militias, loved to commission group portraits. These paintings were formal, stiff, and predictable, rows of men in uniform, each face clearly visible, each name inscribed below. So when the Amsterdam civic militia hired Rembrandt to paint their group portrait, they expected the usual. What they got instead was a revolution. Rembrandt broke every rule. Instead of a static lineup, he created a dramatic scene, a moment frozen in time. Captain Frans Banning Koch and his lieutenant lead their militia into action. Drums beat, muskets fire, faces turn in shock and anticipation. This was no portrait. This was theater. It was life itself. Rembrandt used chiaroscuro, dramatic contrasts of light and shadow, to guide the viewer's eye through the chaos. The result was cinematic, decades before cinema existed. But in the midst of the marching men, one figure stands out, a mysterious young girl bathed in golden light. She is not part of the militia. So why is she there? Some historians believe she symbolizes the spirit of the group. Others say she's a personification of victory. A few even think she is Rembrandt's wife Saskia, who was dying while he painted the piece. She clutches a chicken, the emblem of the militia, and at her belt dangles a claw, symbolizing the name of the group. She is both ghost and goddess, a haunting symbol of life and death. Rembrandt expected praise. Instead, he got outrage. The militia hated the painting. Many of their faces were obscured or hidden in shadow. Some members claimed they had paid for a portrait and didn't even appear clearly. They felt mocked, humiliated. They refused to pay the full commission. Rumors spread that they deliberately hung the painting in a dark hallway out of spite. The work that Rembrandt thought would make his career, instead, began to destroy it. After The Night Watch, commissions began to dry up. Rembrandt's style, dramatic, emotional, daring, was out of fashion. Patrons preferred polished portraits and flattering details. Debt consumed him. He sold his home, his studio, even the graves of his wife and children. By the time he died, in 1669, he was buried in an unmarked grave, forgotten penniless, disgraced. Yet the painting that ruined him would outlive them all. After Rembrandt's death, the Night Watch remained in Amsterdam's City Hall. But its misfortunes didn't end with its creator. In 1715, the city decided to move the massive painting to a new location. And to make it fit the wall, they cut off large sections from all four sides. Historians believe that nearly 20% of the original painting was lost forever. Entire figures disappeared. The dynamic, cinematic composition was wounded. What we see today is just a fragment of Rembrandt's vision, a masterpiece literally mutilated by time. The Night Watch seemed cursed. Over the centuries, it was attacked multiple times. In 1911, a man tried to slash it with a knife. In 1975, another attacker inflicted 12 deep cuts across the canvas. In 1990, someone threw acid at it. Each time, restorers worked tirelessly to save it. Yet the scars, some invisible, some permanent, remain. The painting's survival is nothing short of miraculous. For centuries, art historians wondered, what did the original look like? Early sketches and copies hinted at a wider, more balanced composition. In 2019, the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam launched a groundbreaking project called Operation Night Watch. Using AI, X-rays, and centuries-old records to reconstruct the missing pieces. They even 3D printed sections based on a 17th century copy. For the first time in 300 years, we could glimpse what Rembrandt truly intended. And the difference was breathtaking. The painting suddenly felt alive again, its energy fully unleashed. Some historians believe the Night Watch is more than just a group portrait. It's a coded message. One theory suggests that Rembrandt subtly criticized the militia, portraying them as chaotic and disorganized, a jab at their declining importance. Another proposes a darker secret, that the painting hides a murder. Several figures, scholars argue, are shown with strange gestures, accusing glances, and even concealed weapons, as if the scene depicts a cover-up. While these theories remain unproven, they add a layer of mystery to an already enigmatic masterpiece. The irony is profound. A painting once hated by its patrons, ridiculed by critics, and mutilated by history, is now considered one of the greatest achievements of Western art. It revolutionized portraiture. It redefined how movement, drama, and storytelling could exist on canvas. And it turned Rembrandt, a man who died in poverty, into one of the most revered artists of all time. Today, over 2 million people a year visit the Rijksmuseum just to stand before the Night Watch, and almost all of them say the same thing. It feels alive. One of the most powerful elements of the Night Watch is its use of light and shadow. Rembrandt was a master of chiaroscuro, the dramatic contrast that gives the painting its cinematic quality. But this was more than just technique. It was philosophy. Light, for Rembrandt, symbolized truth, honor, leadership. Darkness represented doubt, fear, and mortality. The brightest spotlight falls on Captain Franz Banning-Koch, the embodiment of authority, and the mysterious girl, symbolizing the spirit of the militia. Around them, faces fade into darkness, symbolizing the chaos and anonymity of collective power. The Night Watch was one of the first paintings to depict action rather than stillness. Look closely. Every figure is doing something different. Some reload their muskets, others shout commands. One even blows powder from his gun. This is not a frozen moment. It's a living story. Rembrandt was essentially directing a scene, decades before cinema existed. And this movement serves a deeper purpose. It reflects the energy of a nation that was defining itself. The Dutch Republic, proud, young, and fiercely independent. Some scholars believe the Night Watch is not a celebration, but a critique. At the time, civic militias were more ceremonial than functional. They paraded in fine clothes, but rarely saw battle. Rembrandt may have used his painting to expose this hypocrisy. The chaotic, almost clumsy formation contrasts sharply with the proud self-image these men had of themselves. It is as if he is saying, "You think you are heroes. In truth, you are actors on a stage." The influence of the Night Watch on art cannot be overstated. It changed how group portraits were painted forever. Artists like Frans Hals, Goya, and even Delacroix borrowed its dynamism and drama. Later, film directors would cite Rembrandt as an inspiration for cinematic lighting. Comic book artists referenced its composition. Even photographers studied it to learn how to tell stories through a single frame. It was no longer enough to paint people. Art had to move, speak, and breathe. The Night Watch has also become a magnet for myths and mysteries. Some believe Rembrandt painted secret portraits of political enemies among the figures. Others claim that the girl in gold is an angel, a messenger of divine judgment. And one bizarre theory suggests that the entire painting is a coded map of Amsterdam's political alliances, with each figure representing a different faction. No one knows if any of this is true, and that's the beauty of it. The Night Watch invites us to keep asking questions, even 380 years later. Today, The Night Watch is more than just a painting. It's a story about art itself, about risk, rebellion, and vision. About a man who defied expectations and paid the price. What began as a scandal is now a symbol of artistic courage, and what was once seen as a failure is now one of humanity's greatest achievements. Rembrandt may have died poor and forgotten, but with the Night Watch, he achieved immortality. In the 21st century, the Night Watch is being reborn. In 2019, the Rijksmuseum launched the most ambitious art restoration project in history, Operation Night Watch. Using AI, hyperspectral imaging, and robotic scanners, scientists studied every brushstroke, every pigment, every microscopic crack. The project revealed secrets invisible to the human eye. Layers of underpainting, hidden sketches, and even subtle changes Rembrandt made during the painting process. It proved that the Night Watch was not just painted, it was built, layer by layer, like a living organism. For the first time, technology allowed us to see the painting almost as Rembrandt saw it. Vibrant, dynamic, and breathtakingly complex. The Night Watch has escaped the museum and entered our world. It appears in films, novels, advertisements, and even political campaigns. Filmmakers study its lighting to understand visual storytelling. Game designers borrow its composition to create immersive worlds. It has been reimagined as a comic book, a VR experience, a hip-hop album cover, and a protest symbol. Even street artists have recreated it on city walls, transforming a 17th century masterpiece into a 21st century conversation. This is the ultimate proof of immortality, when art stops being history and becomes part of everyday life. The Night Watch teaches us a profound lesson that true innovation is rarely understood in its time. Rembrandt risked everything: reputation, career, fortune. He refused to follow rules, and he paid the price. But history vindicated him. What was once mocked is now studied. What was once hidden in a dark hallway now hangs at the heart of a nation's identity. Rembrandt reminds us that art, like truth, is not meant to please. It is meant to challenge, provoke, and inspire. Today, the Night Watch is more than a painting. It is the soul of the Netherlands. It represents the courage of a people who built a nation from the sea, the creativity that fueled a golden age, and the defiance of a man who dared to see the world differently. Standing before it, you are not just looking at a canvas. You are standing face to face with the heartbeat of history. A reminder that even in failure, there can be greatness. Nearly 4 centuries after its creation, the Night Watch continues to watch over us, a silent witness to humanity's struggles, ambitions, and dreams. It is more than a painting. It is a conversation between past and present, artist and audience, chaos and order. Rembrandt's genius reminds us, greatness is not about pleasing the world, it's about changing it. And in that sense, the Night Watch is still on duty, guarding the soul of art itself.